Let us now pledge all of our efforts to obtain and consolidate the benefits of peace. Under its auspices, the protection of the laws and of the authorities will be sufficient for all of the inhabitants of the Republic. May the people and the government respect the rights of all, between individuals as between nations. Peace means respect for the rights of others. This is a quote by Benito Juarez. The Constitution of Mexico, Title 1, Chapter 1, Individual Guarantees. Article 1. Every person in the United Mexican States shall enjoy the guarantees granted by this Constitution, which cannot be restricted or suspended except in such cases and under such conditions as are herein provided. Article 2. Slavery is forbidden in the United Mexican States. Slaves who enter national territory from abroad shall, by this act alone, recover their freedom and enjoy the protection afforded by the laws. Article 3. The education imparted by the federal state shall be designed to develop harmoniously all the faculties of the human being and shall foster in him at the same time a love of country and a consciousness of international solidarity in independence and justice. Freedom of religious beliefs being guaranteed by Article 24. The standard which shall guide such education shall be maintained entirely apart from any religious doctrine and, based on the results of scientific progress, shall strive against ignorance and its effects, servitudes, fanaticism, and prejudices. Moreover, it shall be democratic, considering democracy not only as a legal structure and a political regimen, but as a system of life founded on a constant economic, social, and cultural betterment of the people. It shall be national insofar as, without hostility or exclusiveness, it shall achieve the understanding of our problems, the utilization of our resources, the defense of our political independence, the assurance of our economic independence, and the continuity and growth of our culture. And it shall contribute to better human relationships, not only with the elements which it contributes towards the strengthening and at the same time inculcating together with respect for the dignity of the person and the integrity of the family, the conviction of the general interest of society, but also by the care which it devotes to the ideals of brotherhood and equality of rights of all men, avoiding privileges of race, creed, class, sex, or persons. Private persons may engage in education of all kinds and grades, but as regards elementary, secondary, and normal education, and that of any kind or grade designed for laborers and farm workers, they must previously obtain, in every case, the express authorization of the public power. Such authorization may be refused or revoked by decisions against which there can be no judicial proceedings or recourse. Private institutions devoted to education of the kinds and grades specified in the preceding section must be without exception in conformity with the provisions of Section 1 and 2 of the first paragraph of this article, and must also be in harmony with official plans and programs. Religious corporations, ministers of religion, stock companies which exclusively or predominantly engage in educational activities, and associations or companies devoted to propagation of any religious creed shall not in any way participate in institutions giving elementary, secondary, and normal education, and education for laborers or field workers. The state may, in its discretion, withdraw at any time the recognition of official validity of studies conducted in private institutions. Elementary education shall be compulsory. all education shall be by the state shall be free. The Congress of the Union, with a view to unifying and coordinating education throughout the Republic, shall issue the necessary laws for dividing the social function of education among the Federation, the states, and the municipalities, for fixing the appropriate financial allocations for this public service, and for establishing the penalties applicable to officials who do not comply with or enforce the pertinent provisions, as well as the penalties applicable to those who infringe upon such provisions. My friends, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain a little. Number one, it's free. Two, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will then distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you've ever been looking for to make a podcast in one place. Go ahead and download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. No person can be prevented from engaging in the profession, industrial, or commercial pursuit or occupation of his choice, provided that it is lawful. The exercise of this liberty shall only be forbidden by judicial order when the rights of third parties are infringed, or by administrative order, issued in the manner provided by law, when the rights of society are violated. No one may be deprived of the fruits of his labor except by judicial decision. The law in each state shall determine the professions which may be practiced only with a degree, and set forth the requirements for obtaining it, and the authorities empowered to use it. Article 5. No one can be compelled to render personal services without a due remuneration and without his full consent, except labor imposed as a penalty by the judiciary, which shall be governed by the provisions of clauses 1 and 2 of Article 123. Only the following public services shall be obligatory, subject to the conditions set forth in the respective laws: military service and jury service, as well as the discharge of the office of municipal councilman and offices of direct or indirect popular election. Duties in relation to elections and the census shall be compulsory and unpaid. Professional services of a social character shall be compulsory and paid according to the provisions of law, and with the exception fixed thereby. The state cannot permit the execution of any contract, covenant, or agreement having for its object the restriction, loss, or irrevocable sacrifice of the liberty of man, whether for work, education, or religious vows. The law, therefore, does not permit the establishment of monastic order, whatever be their denomination or purpose. Likewise, no person can legally agree to his own proscription or exile, or to the temporary or permanent renunciation of the exercise of a given profession, or industrial or commercial pursuit. A labor contract shall be binding only to render the services agreed to for the time set by law, and may never be exceeding 1 year to the detriment of the worker, and in no case may it embrace the waiver, loss, or restriction of any civil or political right. Non-compliance with such contract by the worker shall only render him civilly liable for damages, but in no case shall it imply coercion against his person. The expression of ideas shall be subject to any judicial or administrative investigation, unless it offends good morals, infringes the rights of others, incites to crime, or disturbs the public order. Freedom of writing and publishing writings on any subject is inviolable. No law or authority may establish censorship, require bonds from authors or printers, or restrict the freedom of printing, which shall be limited only by the respect due to private life, morals, and public peace. Under no circumstance may a printing press be sequestered as the instrument of the offense. The organic laws shall contain whatever provisions may be necessary to prevent the imprisonment of the vendors, newsboys, workmen, and other employees of this establishment publishing the work denounced under pretext of a denunciation of offenses of the press, unless their guilt is previously established. Article 8. Public officials and employees shall respect the exercise of the right of petition, provided it is made in writing and in a peaceful and respectful manner. But this right may only be exercised in a political manner by citizens of the Republic. Every petition shall be replied to in writing by the official to whom it is addressed, and said official is bound to inform the petitioner of the decision taken within a brief period of time. Article 9. The right to assemble or associate peaceably for any lawful purpose cannot be restricted, but only citizens of the Republic may do so to take part in the political affairs of the country. No armed deliberative meeting is authorized. No meeting or assembly shall be deemed unlawful which has for its object the petitioning of any authority or the presentation of a protest against any act, nor may it be dissolved, unless insults be proffered against an authority, said authority, or violence is resorted to, or threats are used to intimidate or compel such authority to render a favorable decision. The inhabitants of the United Mexican States are entitled to have arms of any kind in their possessions for their protection and legitimate defense, except such as expressly forbidden by law, or which the nation may reserve for the exclusive use of the Army, Navy, or National Guard. But they may not carry arms within inhabited places or without complying with police regulations. Article 11. Everyone has a right to enter and leave the Republic, to travel through its territory, and to change his residence without necessity of a letter of security, passport, safe conduct, or any other similar requirement. The exercise of this right shall be subordinated to the powers of the judiciary in cases of civil or criminal liability, and to those of administrative authorities insofar as concerns the limitations imposed by the laws regarding immigration, and public health of the country, or in regard to the undesirable alien resident countries in the country. You might have a lot of questions about preparing for your financial future. Preparing for the future can be really overwhelming, so let's face it head on. Making sure that we take the appropriate steps now can help secure you and your family's well-being today, tomorrow, and for years to come. And the good news is that it's never too late or too early to prepare for your financial future. It's no secret that life is unpredictable, so let me help you prepare for the unexpected. Click on the link below and schedule an appointment so we can sit down and discuss some more important matters. Thank you. No titles of nobility or hereditary or prerogatives of honor shall be granted in the United Mexican States, nor shall any effect be given to those granted by other countries. No one may be tried by private laws or special tribunals. No person or corporate body shall have privileges or enjoy emoluments other than those given in the compensation for public services and which are set by law. Military jurisdiction shall be recognized for the trial of crimes against and violation of military discipline. But the military tribunal shall in no case have jurisdiction over persons who do not belong to the army. Whenever a civilian is implicated in the military crime or violation, the respective civil authority shall deal with the case. Article 14. No law shall be given retroactive effect to the detriment of any person whatsoever. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, property, possessions, or rights without a trial by a duly created court in which the essential formalities of procedure are observed and in accordance with laws issued prior to the act. In criminal cases, no penalty shall be imposed by mere analogy or by a prior evidence. The penalty must be decreed in the law in every respect applicable to the crime and evidence. In civil suits, the final judgment shall be according to the law or the judicial interpretation of the law. In the absence of the latter, it shall be based on the general principles of law. No treaty shall be authorized for the extradition of political offenders or for offenders of the common order who have been slaves in the country where the offense was committed. Nor shall any guarantee or agreement or treaty be entered into which restricts or modifies the guarantees and rights which this Constitution grants to the individual and to the citizen. Article 16. No one shall be molested in his person, family, domicile, papers, or possessions except by a virtue of a written order of the competent authority stating the legal grounds and justification for the action taken. No order of arrest or detention shall be issued against any person other than by the competent judicial authority, and unless same is preceded by a charge, accusation, or complaint for a credible party, or by other evidence indicating the probable guilt of the accused. In cases of flagrant delicto, any person may arrest the offender and his accomplices, turning them over without delay to the nearest authorities. Only in urgent cases instituted by the public attorney, which previous administrative authorities, on their strictest accountability, order the detention of an accused person, turning him over immediately to the judicial authorities. Every search warrant, which can be issued only by a judicial authority, and which must be in writing, shall specify the place to be searched, the person or persons to be arrested, and the object sought, the proceedings to be limited thereto, at the conclusion of which a detailed statement shall be drawn up in the presence of two witnesses proposed by the occupant of the place searched, or by the official making the search in his absence, or should be refused to do so. Administrative officials may enter private homes for the sole purpose of ascertaining whether the sanitary and police regulations have been complied with, and may demand to be shown the books and documents required to prove compliance with fiscal rulings, in which latter cases they must abide by the provisions of the respective laws and be subject to the formalities prescribed for cases of search. Article 17. No one may be imprisoned for debts of a purely civil nature. No one may take the law into his own hands or resort to violence in the enforcement of his rights. The courts shall be open for the administration of justice at such times and under such conditions as the law may establish. Their services shall be gratuitous, and all judicial costs are accordingly prohibited. Article 18. Arrest is permissible only for offenses punishable by imprisonment. The place of detention shall be completely separate from the place used for the serving of sentences. The federal and state governments shall organize the penal system within their respective jurisdiction on the basis of labor, training, and education as a means of social readjustment of the offender. Women shall serve their sentences in places separate from those intended for men for the same purpose. Governors of states, subject to the provisions of the respective local laws, may conclude agreements of a general nature with the federal government, under which offenders convicted for common offenses may serve their sentences in establishments maintained by the federal executive. The federal government and the state governments shall establish special institutions for the treatment of juvenile delinquents. No detention shall exceed 3 days without a formal order of commitment, which shall state the offense with which the accused is charged, the substance thereof, the place, time, and circumstances of its commission, and the facts brought to light in the preliminary examination. These facts must be sufficient to establish the corpus delicti and the probable guilt of the accused. All authorities who order a detention or consent thereto, as well as all agents, subordinates, wardens, or jailers who execute it, shall be liable for any breach of this provision. The trial shall take place only for the offense or offenses set forth in the formal order of commitment. Should it develop during the course of the proceedings that another offense, different from that charged, has been committed, a separate accusation must be brought. This, however, shall not prevent the joinder of both proceedings if deemed advisable. Any ill treatment during arrest or confinement, any molesting without legal justification, any exaction or contribution levied in prison, or abuses which shall be punishable by law and repressed by the authorities. Article 20. In every criminal trial, the accused shall enjoy the following guarantees. He shall be freed on demand and on furnishing bail, which shall be fixed by the judge, according to his status and the gravity of the offense with which he is charged, provided, however, that such offense is not punishable with more than 5 years' imprisonment. No requisites shall be necessary other than placing the stipulated sum at the disposal of the proper authorities, or giving adequate security or personal bond for acceptance of which the judge is responsible. The security or bond shall not be more than 250,000 pesos, except for offenses by which the offender profits or the victim suffers financially. For such offenses, the security shall be at least 3 times the amount of the profit obtained or the damage suffered. 2. He may not be forced to be a witness against himself, wherefore denial of access or other means tending to this end is strictly prohibited. He shall be publicly notified within 48 hours after being turned over to the judicial authorities of the name of his accuser and the nature of and cause for the accusation, so that he may be familiar with the offense with which he is charged and reply thereto and make preliminary statement. He shall be confronted with the witnesses against him, who shall testify in his presence if they are to be found in the place where the trial is held, so that he may cross-examine them in his defense. All witnesses and other evidence which he may offer shall be heard in his defense, for which he shall be given the time which the law deems necessary for the purpose. He shall furthermore be assisted in securing the presence of the persons whose testimony he may request, provided they are to be found at the place where the trial is held. He shall be entitled to a public trial by a judge or jury of citizens who can read and write and are also residents of the place and district where the offense was committed. Provided the penalty for such offense exceeds 1 year's imprisonment, the accused shall always be entitled to a trial by a jury for all offenses committed by means of the press against the public peace or against the domestic or foreign safety of the nation. He shall be furnished with all information on record which he may request for his defense. He shall be tried within 4 months, if charged with an offense whose maximum penalty does not exceed 2 years' imprisonment, and within 1 year if the maximum penalty is greater. He shall be heard in his own defense, either personally or by counsel, or by both, as he may desire. Should he have no one to defend him, a list of official counsel shall be submitted to him, in order that he may choose one or more to act in his defense. If the accused does not want to name any counsel for his defense, after being called upon to do so at the time of his preliminary examination, the court shall appoint his counsel for the defense. The accused may name his counsel immediately upon arrest, and shall be entitled to have him present at every stage of the trial, but he shall be obliged to make him appear as often as required by the court. 10. In no event may imprisonment or detention be extended through a failure to pay counsel fees or for any other monetary obligation on account of civil liability or for other similar cause. Nor shall detention be extended beyond the time set by law as the maximum for offenses charged. The period of detention shall be reckoned as a part of the term of imprisonment imposed by sentence. Did you know your life insurance can help you pursue living a longer and healthier life? John Hancock Vitality Life Insurance helps protect your financial future while offering a significant savings and rewards for living healthy. Whether you enjoy healthy living today or simply aspire to live healthier, there are 2 great versions of John Hancock Vitality Program to support you along the way: Vitality Go and Vitality Plus. Vitality Go is a basic, be healthy version of the program that's automatically included on your policy at no additional cost. It offers you healthy tips and resources and rewards you for your healthy achievements with discounts at major brand outlets. If you choose to add Vitality Plus to your policy for as little as $2 per month, you'll enjoy significant premium savings and even more rewards for the everyday things you'd love to do to stay healthy, like walking, exercising, buying healthy food, and meditating. Rewards include the latest Apple Watch for as little as $25, up to $600 in savings on healthy food, exclusive discounts from Hotels.com, and much more. If you want to learn more about how you can save money, earn rewards, and live healthy with this new kind of life insurance, call me today, Bogar Rodriguez. Thank you.